Alright guys, hey, today we're going to do system test 58. So yeah, so the panel's CPU component is standing here, but it's not in a enclosure yet, so that's how big the CPU is going to be. And I added this labeling cover for the LEDs, and I removed all the snap circuit related stuff. So now we got a normal power switch. These switches illuminate, but they kind of act weird. So like basically when you're switching them, they turn on for a second, but when you're done switching it, the LED turns back off. So it acts kind of weird. So I don't have their lights hooked up. But anyways, yeah. So over here we have the silence switch, and then over here we have an acknowledge switch. So I know these icons are kind of goofy. I'm gonna replace them, but anyways, yeah. So let's see what happened to the circuit. And by the way, this is silent switch and it says acknowledging switch. So this is the circuit status. So over here I added this relay module that converts and that basically charges batteries but also acts as a battery backup relay. This relay is just going to be used as a trouble relay for the power outage, and this relay would just switch the power. So since this relay could also charge batteries, I happened to accidentally connect the 9-volt battery to the battery terminal, so I smelled a iron smell, so I thought that was normal for the relay, but the relay wasn't making the smell, the battery was. So it actually overheated, so once I touched it, I got burnt immediately, so I just unplugged it and plugged the power and just took out the battery immediately. So anyways, yeah. And by the way, I added this piezo because I wanted this to be a normal panel. So anyways, so this is the acknowledging piezo. This is basically a trouble piezo, but it'll also sound when there's an alarm. So yeah, the reason why I covered it with a bunch of electrical tape and duct tape is because it's rated for 80 dB, so it's going to be very loud. Hold on a sec. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the panel. It's still not complete, but once I get the batteries and I add a test switch and a walk test switch, everything will be done. So over here we have my system sensor MDL, and I'll tell you why. Over here we have my Firelight BG12L as usual. Over here we have my system sensor L series P2RL horn strobe, and the horn is set to code 3 electromechanical low volume, and the strobe is set to 30 candela. And it'll obviously be synchronized by the MDL. But outside in the hallway, we have my Faraday RC2 bar, as usual. I'm gonna get some more pull stations soon. I have the Mercom pull stations, but they're adjustable. I'm converting them to conventional, and I'm looking for their key. Over here we have my EST Genesis horn strobe, and the horn is set to code 3 low volume or high volume, and the strobe is set to 75 candela. And it will be synchronized by the MDL, so because it's kind of compatible with system sensor sync, and the horn might synchronize. I don't know. Over here we have my initiating device over there. Might replace that with the Mercom pull station when I get the key. And over here we have my EST remote chime, and it's set to code 3 low volume, and it would also be synchronized by the MDL. So without further ado, let's start the test. But hold on, let me do something. So anyways, let's start the test with the BG12L. I'm not going to reset it. I'm going to reset it after I silence everything. Then I'll just do the whole resetting thing while the alarms are sounding once I do the other devices. So yeah, 3, 2, and 1. Acknowledge that. Wait, something's wrong. Never mind, the horns are not in sync, and the strobes aren't, for some reason. Peace at last. The only quiet alarm in the system. Yeah, the horns are out of sync, but they'll synchronize once I silence everything. Alright, now all the strobes are in sync because everything's silenced. It's quite interesting to have two different brands on the same sync circuit, but they still follow it, kind of. Alright, now all the strobes are in sync because the MDL sync output is the only thing that synchronizes EST devices. But otherwise, when everything was unsilenced, the strobes were not really in sync. I mean, the system sensor PTRL was following the sync module, but these two were just following their own thing and doing enhanced EST sync. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see the EST device doing two. By the way, everything is on 2-wire, so yeah. But still, there's audible silence. Nothing here, but it's getting the signal to shut the horn. So yeah, let's reset the pull station. It's so bright, by the way, because I set it to 75 candelas because sometimes there are people over here kind of resting, so this could wake them up. This is just such a 30 candela, but it's still bright enough for the whole room. See? Yeah. Let's reset the pull station. Wheel lock devices, they don't follow the newer sync protocol anymore. By the way, everything's latched, so that's why everything is still flashing. Anyways, yeah. The wheel lock devices, they only follow the older sync, system sensor sync, but the newer one, they kind of act like they're on pulse when the system is silenced with the MDL. So yeah. I could make a video on that, but anyways, let's reset everything. Yeah, I already pressed reset, now I just have to flip these switches back on. Alright, I'm gonna quickly do the Faraday T-bar. It's gonna be very loud. You know, I will K-activate this. Freak, I can't really cough from my ear. My ears! Ugh. I wish I didn't put everything on the floor. Ow. I can't activate that, so the pull station's already reset. So yeah. Now for the last initiating device. Enhanced EST sync. And we'll reset everything. So yeah, guys, that was a double branded system sensor sync system test 58. Bye guys.